The YouTube sphere back in the late 2015s, right before the start of 2020, was completely different than what it is today. And down the line, it'll be different from how it is today in the future. Drama channels were peaking in popularity, and drama on the platform was getting worse and worse by the day. We saw a bunch of diss tracks and falling out between different groups of creators. Everyone had a story or a side to their drama that they needed to share on YouTube. James Charles was one of those creators who'd be called out for his disturbing behavior by his own friend, Tati Westbrook. This started the downward spiral for his channel, and even though he was able to set the record straight with a planned out response video against Tati Westbrook and Jeffree Star, allegations against James would spiral out of control, and a rumored 15 men and boys came out to expose James Charles for inappropriate behavior. But we will get to that later on in the video. Today we talk about the several times James Charles was called out due to his interactions with his underage fans, and how these allegations came to light in the first place, how he handled these allegations, and his recent attempts to be uncancelled, which is turning out to be unsuccessful. So let's take a trip back to the past in order to get the full drama that led us to the present day. Now, let's get to work. James Charles created his YouTube account on December 1st of 2015. 4 months later, in March of 2016, James released his very first video titled Blue/Brown Serpent Makeup Tutorial. As of today, that video has generated over 4 million views. Now, it's good to note that during that first year on YouTube, James Charles was still in high school. Because of this, his channel wasn't his main priority, but he'd build an audience with his makeup tutorials on YouTube and post photos on his Instagram account. Now, right before his 1-year anniversary on YouTube and Instagram, he'd post a tweet to his Twitter account stating, "So I retook my senior photos and brought my ring light with me so my highlight would be poppin'. I love being extra." This tweet went viral, and even Zendaya would quote tweet it saying, "You win." Now, because this tweet went viral, and because in 2019 it was pretty uncommon for males to wear makeup on a day-to-day basis, it caught the attention of a lot of people online. CoverGirl reached out to James for him to be the first male to grace the cover of CoverGirl. With James being on the cover, he made history and was invited onto the Ellen DeGeneres show to speak about the picture day incident. Being featured on the Ellen show back in 2016 was the equivalent to being shouted out by Mr. Beast today. This appearance on the Ellen show instantly grew his following and likableness. On the Ellen show, James Charles came off as being extremely nice and down to earth. But just a couple months later, he'd tweet out, "I can't believe we're going to Africa today. OMG, what if we get Ebola? James, we're fine, we could have gotten it at Chipotle last year." Now, this tweet was meant to be a joke that poked fun at his friend because he got confused with Ebola and E. coli. But that didn't matter. The internet came after James like a mob with pitchforks and torches and called James Charles ignorant for his remarks that affect a whole continent. James quickly deleted the tweet, but it was already too late, and he made an apology stating, "I am extremely sorry. Regardless of my intentions, words have consequences. I take full responsibility and will learn and do better." But later on uploaded a Notes app apology that went on to say, "Okay, I'm not going to post a BS apology. I was told what to say, and that's not how an apology should work. I am extremely sorry for my tweet, and I feel like shit for saying it. I'm traveling to Africa today with a few friends for a school trip. Ironically enough, it's an educational trip because we all know very little about the country, but are eager to learn. I am aware that the tweet was extremely offensive and degrading. I posted it to make fun of my friend's mistake, but did not think about what the tweet as a whole was implying. It was never my intent to offend anyone, and I am sorry. As a white cis male, I recognize my privilege and would never want to take that for granted. But I effed up. I deleted everything before my plane took off, hoping that it would go away, which is completely a wrong way to handle problems such as this. I just landed a little while ago and am just now seeing to where this has blown up to, and I don't want anyone to think I don't care or am not sorry. I could not see or say anything while in the air. I passed out and did not buy Wi-Fi. I feel awful for posting what I said. I understand why what I said was offensive and ignorant. I look forward to exploring the country and learning much more about the people and culture, because clearly I know very little and have a lot to learn." It seemed fine and dandy after this apology, but things would only get worse. The following month in March, a classmate of James's tweeted out screenshots of a conversation that he had with James, speaking about how he tricked the internet into believing that he actually brought a ring light to school for retakes on picture day, but instead he just asked the yearbook to edit his photos. Now, from 2017 through 2019, nothing really big happened. I mean, with the whole yearbook incident thing, it was already said and done. He already got his fame from it, so nothing really happened on that end. I mean, it was a little bit of petty drama, like when he called the It movie trash, and some other smaller things, but nothing that was really relevant. But at that point, his YouTube channel exploded in subscribers. In 2018 alone, James garnered over 10 million new subscribers, which was huge at the time. But in 2019, his world of online influence would come crashing down around him from an old friend. Now, before we get into the drama, we have to speak about the relationship between Tati Westbrook and James Charles. Tati explains the relationship as being a mother figure to James because of the age difference, and how she was able to teach him a lot about social media and capitalizing off of his success. She'd state that her husband helped James a lot with brand deals and making sure the contracts that he signed were fair before James signed the dotted line. They were very, very close and talked to each other constantly. Now, this situation all started on April 22nd of 2019 during Coachella weekend. James Charles posted a story to his Instagram account of an ad for the brand Sugar Bear Hair. This was a brand that was in direct competition of Tati Westbrook's brand called Halo Beauty. This bothered Tati to a point that she posted several Instagram stories about the situation and at one point started to cry. She'd state that she didn't have the support of her community and how it was hard for her to film videos because of this entire situation.
I don't really know why I never get in these moods to just like vent or do a rant or anything like that, but I'm literally sitting here in my studio like I can't film, and this never happens to me, where I feel like I'm here, I know what I should be doing, I should be working, I should film, and I just can't because I'm stressed out and I feel really lost, and I feel in my community especially like I feel really lonely. And through this whole journey of YouTube, I feel like I have been someone who's been super supportive to my friends, and it's been really crap to feel like, not that you should do things to get support, but like, you know, friends should support one another. That's how it should be. And, you know, I'm having one of those days where it's like smacked in my face of what's what, and having to take a look at things and realize what they are and not wanting to realize what they are, you know? So I guess I'm kind of hopping on here to share with you guys, like, me and you, because at the end of the day, that's all it's ever been, is me and my audience. You guys matter so much to me, and the reason I started this was not for fame or money, and I have to really be in that all the time, like in that mindset, and it's made it really easy to say no to a lot of things while other people have said yes. And my story here on YouTube has just been different, and I like that. But it comes with some disappointment, you know. I'm having a rough one.
Now, even though she didn't mention James by name, fans of Tati Westbrook quickly put two and two together and figured out that she was talking about the advertisement that James did for Sugar Bear Hair. After these series of stories, James uploaded an apology to Tati on his Instagram story saying, "I want to publicly apologize to my close friend Tati. She has been like a mother to me since my first days in this industry and has given me more love, support, resources, and advice than I could ever ask for. This weekend, I did an Instagram story for sleep vitamins that I've been taking because the brand helped me with security when the crowd around me at Coachella became unsafe. I did not accept any money for this post. As most of you know, Tati has a vitamin brand which I take on a daily basis, but in the moment, I did not think about the competition, which was a major oversight. I've supported Tati both online and off like she has done for me, and am devastated that I hurt someone that I truly love and have endless respect for." Now, Tati didn't respond right away, and in between James's apology to Tati and her response video, there was a situation that occurred between James Charles and a man that he went to Coachella with. During Coachella weekend, there was a photo uploaded to Twitter that spotted James Charles with another man. Fans speculated that this man was James's new boyfriend, but James would end all the rumors with one tweet that said, "Nope, unfortunately, I am still very single. This boy played me for months on end and is a disgusting con artist. I'm thankful I had my friends with me to protect me." This guy was identified as IG model Gage Gomez, and he'd take this drama to YouTube where he'd post his very first video ever to the platform. During the video, he'd speak about how James Charles was pressuring him to meet up, even though Gage already told James that he was straight. But James continued to pressure him until he showed up.
I receive a DM from this person. I'm sure you guys all know who I'm talking about. I proceeded to respond as a friend, like anyone would do. Especially to someone who has so much influence in like this world today, you could say. In social media, yeah. From there, I'm gonna kind of skip over a lot and go right to this point. James then saw this as an opportunity to manipulate me as a person who may or may not have been trying to figure things out about their sexuality after the fact of telling him that I was straight multiple times. He then started to begin putting a little bit of pressure on me, of getting to know me without like disregarding the fact that I told him I was straight. Because as you all know, this person 99.9, maybe even 100% of the time goes after heterosexual men. I told James I wasn't interested in any of that. We then stopped talking for a while. He had to shoot a video in New York City for a bit, but I was in school. He came here. He wanted to hang out. I told him I was busy. His flight got delayed, so then he saw this as a perfect opportunity to hang out, even though I told him I was busy. He then proceeded to get mad at me for not clearing my schedule to meet up, hang out, get food, chill, whatever, talk. And he went off on social media. Like, first of all, he blocked me on everything. Went off on social media, and this is the first time that I was, I guess, subtweeted about. Here's a screenshot. The tweet about pretty boys being assholes and whatnot. That's about me. So I was blocked on everything.
This response resulted in James posting another lengthy explanation of the situation on his Twitter account, starting the paragraph off with, "I will address this now and never again. The boy that I was seen with at Coachella and I talked for 5 months prior to meeting. The day before the festival, day 1, he called me and told me he wanted to continue to explore his sexuality and meet in person to see what it would be like. He flew himself out and I invited him to my home with my friends and we spent the weekend together at the festival. Holding hands, cuddling, sleeping in the same bed, and kissing. Nothing more." But then James would state that Gage stated that he had no feelings towards him, and that didn't make him upset, but that it did make him feel like he was getting taken advantage of, which led him to impulsively reply to a fan. On the next page, he continued with, "That one tweet, however, led to him making several Instagram stories, lives, tweets, Instagram story swipe up to those tweets, and not only one, but 2 YouTube videos about me. He left out many details and accused me of pressuring him, which is a blatant lie." Now, after James's response, the drama seemed pretty much over, until Tati Westbrook's initial video. This video was titled "By Sister" and was over 40 minutes long, and took about 2 weeks to come out. The video detailed how Tati Westbrook was always there for him, and how the Sugar Bear hair sponsor had to be working in the background, and James was just plotting against Tati the whole time. She'd speak about how James was fake because he wouldn't post a sponsored video for her product line on his channel, and how that really hurt her feelings. But then the video gets a little disturbing. Tati talks about the time that James saw a waiter at a restaurant for Tati's birthday, and how he was saying some pretty disturbing things on what he wanted to do to that waiter. And this made everyone involved feel disturbed.
But it was just about being lied to and feeling disrespected. And, you know, James Charles, he had 9 days after Coachella to talk to me. He knows where I live. It's not far from him. He could have come face to face and chatted with me because he knew that this would hurt me. We've had plenty of in-person conversations that were at length about other influencers doing the same deal and him not liking sugar bear hair and dragging the other people and being like, Tati, I'm on your side. Like, you've got me. Like, I will support you. Yes, mom. Like, you've got my loyalty. So I always felt really comfortable with that. And I, of course, to not even get a phone call, to not even get a text a few days prior, but right after that sponsored post went up, to have a text like, hey mom, love you, I'm stressed. Just so you know, XYZ, I just did this post, but it's no big. And that's pretty typical of James Charles's behavior from the time that I met him when he was 17, before he really had taken off on YouTube at all. I know that he has a way of just getting what he wants. And I've always blamed it on his age. I've been like, oh, he'll grow up. Like, it's fine. He'll grow up. Like, there's something about him that I just adore and love, and he'll grow out of this and he'll mature. And I want to be someone that can give him solid advice. And there's something in my heart that is pulled to him, and I love him, and I am there for this kid. There's so much going on with James Charles right now that I do not support, that I do not agree with. Fame, power, and a fat bank account will change almost anyone. And if you don't have people that will tell you to your face that you're doing the wrong things, you will change. And I tried to be that person for you, James. I really tried. I don't think there's any getting through to you, and I don't want to be friends with you. I don't want to be associated with you. And I need to say that very publicly so that this chapter can just be closed. Everything is over-sexualized. And that's the huge underlayer to this all, that I finally have had enough. The last phone conversation that James Charles and I had, he said some things telling me about a situation that happened in Seattle at my birthday, and it literally made me want to vomit. Oh my God, you tried to trick a straight man into thinking he's gay yet again, and somehow you're the victim. You know, it's really disgusting to manipulate someone's sexuality, especially when they are still, emerging into adulthood and don't quite have everything figured out. You are using your fame, your power, your money to play with people's emotions. You're threatening to ruin them. You're threatening to embarrass them. And you're doing that to have them behave sexually in your favor, even if they're straight. And you know what? That's not okay.
Now again, these were pretty big allegations, and people actually found out who the waiter was. His name was Sam Cooke, and he'd release a video that same week speaking about the drama between him and James Charles.
To talk for a while. It was his last night in Seattle. He actually invited me out to his hotel. At that time, I was bi-curious. I had never done anything with a guy before, and I was curious. Later that night, he invited me out to his hotel room. When I got there, in the video, he said I was brought up by 4 security guards, but in reality, I was brought up by 1 concierge. But besides that, I get to the hotel room, we say hi, it's all fine. We end up watching a movie, and after that movie, he asked to kiss me. And I was very nervous, because I had never done anything with a guy, and I was bi-curious, so I said yes. And we ended up making out for around an hour, and if I'm being honest, he's the worst kisser I've ever kissed. Way too much tongue. Yeah, but besides that, so he didn't want me to leave from the hotel room, and he kept telling me to stay, like, please stay, don't leave me, all this and that, but I really wanted to go home, so I left. And throughout the following weeks, we kept in contact, and my birthday was coming up on the 22nd, and he wanted to fly me out to LA. And that kind of freaked me out, because at that point, I was pretty sure I was straight. So I told him in a long text message that I am straight, and that if he were to fly me out, I wouldn't think it was right if I wasn't attracted to him, but if he still wanted to fly me out as friends, I gave that as an option to him. So he declined my offer and canceled the flight, and that's when he got really sad and emotional. He took to social media, and his response to me was that he didn't think that I was straight. He told me, "You're not straight." Like, I'll throw up the DM conversation right here. And we kind of stopped talking after that for a little bit, and then he came back to me. He asked me for closure. After he called me for the closure conversation, he offered to fly me out again, and I declined. Because I didn't want to use him for his money or his fame. I thought that was wrong, and that's what everyone was telling me, that it would have been wrong to go out there if I wasn't actually feeling the same way that he was. So I declined for the second time the trip to LA. He still went on to say he thought I was bisexual or gay and attracted to him when I had told him different. And that pretty much went on for a long time until we kind of ended it at, "I'm legitimately not feeling anything, please stop talking to me."
People were disturbed with how James Charles was telling Sam that he was gay and how he knew that he was gay. It all just came off as him trying to have control of the situation and making Sam feel as if he didn't. In response to Tati's video, James uploaded a now deleted video of him crying and looking pretty disheveled. PewDiePie reacted to this apology and stated that James did a lot of things wrong during it, stating that no one will believe him and also not showing any proof or receipts to prove his innocence. This apology was later deleted, but the damage was again already done. These videos on James Charles really destroyed his channel. In the matter of just a week, James lost over 3 million subscribers and lost a lot of his celebrity following on Instagram. Even Jeffree Star would come out against James Charles during that week and asked his brother why was James a predator on Twitter. James Charles uploaded a video titled "No More Lies." Now, this video was very well put together and refuted a lot of the points that Tati Westbrook made in her original video, like how James never reached out to her or her husband, and also the whole sponsored Instagram story situation. He came with receipts and everything to prove her wrong. He talked about the Jeffree Star situation and the Sam Cooke video as well.
But right after that sponsored post went up to have a text like, "Hey mom, love you, I'm stressed. Just so you know, XYZ, I just did this post, but it's no big."
Before posting my stories, I actually did text Tati first out of respect for her, giving her heads up about the sponsorship, but she was immediately upset. I tried my best to kind of explain the entire situation and also give her a direct apology as well, but at this point I had signed the contract and I absolutely had to post it. There was no getting out of it. I then headed to the airport and took off on a flight to San Francisco. And by the time that I had landed 1 hour later, Tati had uploaded all of her Instagram stories of her crying, talking about the friends in the community that haven't really supported her, how she was alone, and how she felt very, very hurt and betrayed. Very quickly, people put 2 and 2 together and realized that this was clearly about me, and I started getting thousands and thousands of tweets and comments and texts about the whole situation. Throughout the next several hours, I made countless attempts to text both Tati and her husband James, and many phone calls as well, trying to reach them, all of which they did not respond to. And later on that night, while sitting in my hotel in San Francisco, because I could not reach Tati, I issued a public apology directly on my Instagram because I really wanted to make sure she saw that I was sorry, and I wanted to end the situation by taking full responsibility for my actions. Over the next several days, I made countless attempts to contact both Tati and her husband James on all their different phone numbers. I texted and called Tati's business number, her family number, and also James's personal phone number as well. After a full entire week of trying to reach out and handle things in private with Tati and her husband James and getting no response, I figured at this time it'd be best to just respect their space, give them their privacy, and that whenever Tati was ready, she would reach back out to me to handle things in private and hopefully move on with our friendship. That is everything in regards to the Instagram stories. Now that we've talked about that, I want to discuss a few of the things in Tati's video that were misleading and false.
The reason that James always said that he couldn't promote Halo on his channel and really do heavy endorsement was because he has a teenage audience and it would just be inappropriate.
Now, this time was just confusing to me, mostly because this conversation never actually happened. If you guys know my channel, you know that I don't really do dedicated product reviews ever, which is what Tati is known for. But even though that is the case, I've still multiple times talked about her products on all my social media networks. I talk about boys quite a lot on my social media networks. Clearly at this point, it is not acceptable anymore. We're talking about that in a little bit, I promise you. But just thought I would bring it up, put it out into the universe. I don't really get a lot of action. We have probably guessed this at this point. So that being said, I have never and would never and will never use my fame, money, or power to manipulate or get any sexual actions from a guy. That is disgusting. It is not me. And the fact that Tati brought this up blows my mind because she knows the real story. The story that we're talking about here is a situation that happened when I was in Seattle for Tati's surprise party with a boy named Sam. Now, I'm going to tell you the full story since everybody seems to be leaving out literally every single detail. In Tati's video, she mentioned that she was disgusted and had to apologize to her family for me apparently saying things that I wanted to do to a waiter and then justifying those actions by saying, I am a celebrity. Okay, this literally did not happen. What did happen is that me, Jeffree, Nate, and my best friend Drew all flew to Seattle to surprise Tati for her birthday on February 14th. That night, we went out to dinner with Tati and James and her whole family, and we're in a restaurant. There was a cute boy across the restaurant that I kept making eye contact with and that I was interested in. And the conversation of dating for me and Jeffree both came up at the dinner table, and we were talking about it for a very, very short period of time. The conversation never got inappropriate. Period. The boy that was involved with the story is named Sam. Now, when I originally wanted to do this video addressing everything, I did plan on crossing his name and keeping him completely private, but he has since come out and made a video of his own talking about the situation, just like Tati leaving out many, many details. But in his video and in the screenshots that I have, Sam mentioned that he was perfectly fine and found the flirting that I was doing flattering. So I'm not really sure why this got turned into something much bigger, but it simply was not.
This one video fixed his reputation. Instead of the fans blindly following Tati's commands, they looked at the bigger picture and turned on Tati instead. James Charles would gain back his subscribers lost and was back on track. Tati, on the other hand, lost the subscribers that she gained when she exposed James in the beginning. Now after this, things went back to normal. James regained his subscribers and even added a few million more. In June of 2020, Tati Westbrook uploaded a new video titled Breaking My Silence, which spoke about how Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star were extremely jealous of the success that was following James Charles and how they poisoned her with negativity regarding James. This led her to make her first video on James because they were always in her ear. This video once again just gave James Charles positive reception online and would fuel his channel to hit over 25 million subscribers. At least that was the case until the next huge rift in his online career. In February of 2021, just a few years after Dramageddon 2.0, which saw James Charles lose and then regain 3 million subscribers, a 16-year-old boy came forward with screen recordings and screenshots from DMs that he received from James Charles. He uploaded these videos to TikTok and stated that James Charles made him feel very uncomfortable, and when he told James his age, he acted like he didn't care and continued to send him pictures.
So trigger warning, I will be talking about grooming and James Charles, so if you get triggered by any of those, keep scrolling, but if not, watch this video please. So last Wednesday on the 17th, James Charles snapped me on Snapchat. He added me back because I had snapped him a while ago, just like a fan to influencer conversation. I was excited because he's my biggest influencer wise, and I've always looked up to him, so I was excited to get his message back. I don't have a lot of time, so I'm gonna post proof of it right now. This is the notification that I got when he Snapchatted me first. And just for further proof, he deleted the chat. I don't know what he deleted, but that's me opening his Snapchat. I went into the bathroom, and I guess he saw the bathroom light, so he started making the conversation very sexual, and it made me really uncomfortable. And I'll post some of the stuff that he sent me now. You can't see it because it's blurry, because I took it on my iPad, because I don't want him to see that I screenshotted it, but I'll post it right now. He proceeded to send me explicit pictures of his body. So this is part 2 of the James Charles story. So after sending me that first picture of his body, explicitly, he sent me multiple after that, and I'll post them now. I was getting really uncomfortable, so I told him my age. I told him I'm 16. Meanwhile, he's 21. He's a grown man. And then he proceeds to say, oh, but I didn't even get to see meaning my body. And after telling him, like, no, like, I'm not gonna send it to you, he kept on asking for pictures and videos of body hair and me flexing and stuff. He proceeded to ask to FaceTime me, which I then said no to, and then I asked why. And this is what he said. It's sad to say that I can't even look up my biggest influence the same again. I've heard multiple stories about him doing this to people, but you never believe it until it happens to you. So now I'm a big believer of what James Charles does to other people, and it sucks because he has so much going for him, and he does this to himself.
James Charles was quick to respond with a post on Twitter stating, "There's a video going around about me on TikTok and Twitter of a guy calling me a groomer, and I want to address it right away. The accusation that I have groomed this person is completely false. Last week, I came across someone on my Instagram Explore page, saw he followed me and added him on Snapchat. The next morning, I woke up to several snaps from this person, being excited I added him back, saying he loved me, and also lewd photos of himself in the shower. I asked him how old he was right away, and he told me he was 18, so I started flirting back. In the excitement of meeting someone I thought could be potentially great, I didn't ask for a copy of his ID or passport. It's now clear, based on the video he uploaded, he was taking photos of me with another device and had an ulterior motive from the beginning. Later in the day, he said a few things that made me question the validity of his original age answer, and when I asked him to confirm his age once again, he admitted he was 16. I told him I was really uncomfortable and apologized for flirting, but he insisted on continuing talking back, saying it could be our little secret. He's a fan of mine and would never tell anyone. I told him I wasn't okay with this. He started getting upset, and at this point, I unfriended him. We haven't spoken since. I'm not victim blaming him or victimizing myself either, simply sharing what happened, and what happened was not okay. After false allegations like this in the past, I would never knowingly engage with anyone underage and put my life on the line for a few Snapchats. Because of situations like this, instead of taking someone's word for it, I now will ask to see the ID or passport of every guy I have a conversation with. Then other minors would come out with videos on James Charles and how he'd do the same exact thing to them. Follow them on Instagram, friend them on Snapchat, and then start to talk to them without doing any research on if the guys he was talking to were above legal age. He would just take their word for it. And they never were. Eventually, James had to come out with an apology video because the allegations started a dogpile, and there were about 5 people who came out exposing James Charles for his predatory behavior. In his now deleted apology video, he'd speak about the power imbalance and how he wasn't doing it on purpose, and how he had to reflect and realize that he had to take the blame for his actions.
In case anybody isn't aware of what's going on, within the past couple of weeks, 2 different people, both under the age of 18, have recently come forward saying that they had inappropriate messages with me on social media. One of them being from last year and one of them being from more recent. In both of these cases, I added these people on Snapchat, asked how old they were right away, was told that they were 18, believed them, engaged in a flirty conversation, and then later on found out that they were actually 16. Upon finding out, I was immediately embarrassed and blocked both people. Later on, when I saw them making videos about it and those videos going viral, my immediate reaction, completely honestly, was to be really, really upset. I wanted to get on camera and film another No More Lies video where I gather all my receipts and all my screenshots and try to tell my side of the story and then just move on from the situation. And now, looking back, that was so stupid, because as I did more research on these topics and self-reflected, I realized that the receipts and the screenshots and the specific details of the interaction really don't matter, because I fucked up and I needed to take accountability for my actions and, most importantly, apologize to the people that were affected by them. These conversations should have never happened, point blank period. There's no excuse for it, there's no ifs, ands, or buts, and I take full responsibility for that. I trusted the information that was given to me rather than the information I could have and should have gotten myself. In both of these situations, doing research into these people's public social media profiles would have revealed their true ages, and therefore these conversations would have never happened in the first place, but I didn't do the research, and that is what is so embarrassing. As an adult, it is my job and my responsibility to verify who I'm talking to, and therefore there is no one to blame for this other than myself. To the guys involved with this situation, I want to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I added you, I'm sorry that I flirted with you, and I'm really sorry if I ever made you uncomfortable. It is completely unacceptable. I was being reckless, and after looking back and finally realizing that this was my own fault, I started doing a lot of thinking and reflecting to really try and figure out why I was actually allowing myself to be so reckless in the first place. In all other areas of my life, my friends, my business, I like to think of myself as pretty put together and on top of things, and I couldn't understand why relationships were the one outlier. Why were they not working? Why was this area of me so different? And I finally came to a conclusion. It sucks, and it is ridiculously embarrassing to admit this, but I think I have to, and that is that I'm desperate. I do understand that with these videos coming to light, it's really it's really looking, period, like I'm actively searching for younger people to be in a relationship with, and I just want to say firsthand that is absolutely not the case. My hope has always been to be in a relationship with somebody around my age or older that I can relate to and that can make me laugh, and unfortunately I've not been able to find that person yet, but the idea of actually being in a relationship became so important to me that I was willing to trust too quickly, miss out on red flags, and most importantly, not take the precautionary measures that really anybody, but especially somebody with a public platform, should be taking before talking to anybody.
But this video didn't slow down the allegations, and some people who came out with the allegations were proven to be false. But still, this didn't change the fact that James Charles did in fact message and send unsolicited pictures to underage fans. After this, Morph, the company that worked with James Charles, would slow down sales and eventually sever ties with James, and James would post this statement onto his Twitter account saying, "Accountability is something that I've spoken about a number of times in the past. In my most recent video, I spoke about and took accountability for my part in conversations I had with a few individuals who told me they were over the age of 18. As I said in that video, I can't show change overnight, but will over time. Since posting that video, many other people have come forward with a series of misleading stories and false allegations, which have been reported on by many people, creators, and news outlets. My legal team has begun taking action against those that have spread misinformation and or created completely false stories, as this has gone too far. These stories have caused many of my long-term partners to receive considerable negative feedback, one of them being Morph. I've loved every moment working together and am beyond grateful for what we've created together. That being said, I reached out to them and we mutually agreed to wind down our James Charles x Morph collaboration, which is my only project with them. I'm continuing to take time away to learn, grow, and listen, and look forward to coming back one day in the future as a better version of myself. After this, YouTube temporarily demonetized James's channel and he'd take a break from uploading to the platform. James would return to the platform on July 2nd with a video titled An Open Conversation, which spoke about his time away from the platform and what he was doing while he was away. After this, James started to post frequently again, but saw a noticeable decrease in views per video. Before being exposed, James was able to captivate an audience of over 10 million people almost every single video. But after the allegations, struggled to pull in even 5 million views per video. This would be documented in a video by SunnyV2 last year when James Charles' views started to fall off. But as of today, James is struggling to pull in even 1 million views, with multiple videos throughout the past weeks having below 1 million views. Of course, James Charles is still doing well on YouTube. Of course, not as good as he once was doing on the platform, but good enough that he has been able to release a new makeup line and still have a generous flow of money each month. James had an issue adjusting to a new lifestyle filled with fame, and he used his following as a way to get whatever he wanted, which led to multiple minors to come out against Charles for his inappropriate way he was talking to them. This saw him lose a good portion of his audience, and even though his subscriber count wasn't affected as much as his previous drama, only dropping by about 2 million subscribers, his initial audience has stopped watching his content, leaving only a fraction of views as what he once received. But this is the end of the video. James continues to upload videos every couple of days, but he has really struggled to captivate the audience that he once captivated. And I'm not sure how much longer he will continue to do this without being upset with the views. How do you feel about James Charles and this massive bombshell that came out against him? Let me know in the comments below. If you have any creators or video ideas that you wanted me to talk about, the best way you can suggest them to me is through my Instagram DMs or on my Discord. Major updates are happening to the Discord where you can earn Bills coins to earn roles within the server. So come through and check it out because it's much easier for you to just come and look at it and try it out for yourself instead of me trying to explain it. If you found yourself enjoying the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out the channel and gets us closer to 200,000 subscribers. And also helps you stay up to date with the newer uploads posted every single week. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. The other day, I was walking through my local Walmart and stumbled upon a familiar product that I made a video on in July of 2022. The item was the pink sauce. You remember, the product that was slammed by every content creator on both TikTok and YouTube respectively. Well, yeah, I saw the sauce and it instantly brought me back to last year, and I wanted to check out what